Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into one of the most bizarre, visually startling, and incredibly adapted creatures on planet Earth. If you're fascinated by how evolution produces these hyper-specialized traits, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to meet Madagascar's misunderstood marvel. Okay, so I want you to picture this for a second. Imagine an animal with this incredibly specific, seemingly impossible mix of body parts. We're talking massive, leathery ears like a bat that are constantly twitching to pick up the absolute faintest sounds. Then add giant, ever-growing front teeth, kind of like a beaver or a rat. Oh, and finish it off with hands that look entirely skeletal, almost like they belong on a Halloween display, not on a living, breathing mammal. It sounds completely made up, doesn't it? Like something stitched together from totally different species. But trust me, this creature is very, very real. Section 1, a bizarre biological mashup. Meet the ii. Scientifically, it goes by Daubentonia madagascariensis, and it is a deeply misunderstood lemur found absolutely nowhere else in the wild except on the island of Madagascar. Now, when most of us hear the word lemur, we instantly think of those fluffy, ring-tailed guys bouncing around in the daylight, right? Well, the ii completely shatters that expectation. It's a primate, part of our own extended evolutionary family tree, but it has adapted in such an isolated, highly specific way that it literally stands in a category all its own. And get this. Its traits are so confusing that early European taxonomists actually misclassified the ii as a squirrel before they finally realized it was a lemur. Think about how wild that is for a primate. Those ever-growing incisors completely tricked the early scientists. Unlike other primates, an ii's front teeth literally never stop growing throughout its entire life. Because of that rodent-like traits, combined with its whole strange aesthetic, the experts at the time just couldn't believe it was related to monkeys and apes. It's just a perfect example of how appearances in the animal kingdom can be wonderfully deceiving. Moving right along to Section 2, Madagascar's nocturnal giant. To really understand this creature, we have to look at how it lives. Found strictly in Madagascar's forests, the ii actually has a pretty varied diet: larvae, fruit, seeds, and fungi. And they live a remarkably long time, roughly 20 to 23 years. But here is the tragic part. They currently hold an endangered status on the IUCN Red List. They are actively fighting for their survival. Oh, and here's a fun fact. The ii is the world's largest nocturnal primate. Now, to survive and thrive as a giant roaming the pitch-black canopy, you need some special equipment. The ii features these massive, monkey-like eyes perfectly adapted for navigating those dark rainforest canopies. While we humans would be stumbling around completely blind in that environment, the ii uses those huge eyes to just gracefully leap through the dark trees, essentially ruling the canopy while the rest of the forest sleeps. Which brings us to the craziest part, Section 3, the magic middle finger. To truly appreciate this evolutionary masterpiece, we have to talk about its hands, which basically act like a biological Swiss Army knife. Think about this number for a second, 360 degrees. That is the actual range of motion of its single, super elongated middle finger. It operates on a ball and socket joint. For some context, we humans only have ball and socket joints in our shoulders and our hips, but the ii has one in its incredibly slender skeletal middle finger, giving it a full 360-degree rotation. It can pivot and twist in ways that seem mechanically impossible, letting it reach deep into the most difficult, winding crevices of a tree trunk. And this finger is specifically designed for a highly specialized hunting technique known as percussive foraging. Basically, this is the act of hunting by tapping on surfaces and using echolocation to find the prey hiding inside. Incredibly, the ii is the only known primate on Earth to hunt this way. It essentially acts like a woodpecker, except, it's a mammal. It uses that magic middle finger to physically tap on the wood, sending sound waves right into the tree to locate its hidden dinner. And when it's looking for food, it strikes the wood at a rapid-fire speed of up to 8 taps per second. Just imagine a drummer moving that fast. The ii creates this rapid drumming rhythm that echoes through the silent, dark forest. It's physically vibrating the tree trunk, probing for any weaknesses, hollow chambers, or even the incredibly subtle movements of grubs buried deep underneath the bark. So, it all builds into this one fluid, masterful sequence. Step 1, it taps the wood up to 8 times a second. Step 2, it presses those giant bat-like ears right up to the bark, using echolocation to listen for hollow cavities and the tiny squirming movements of insect larvae inside. Step 3, once it pinpoints a grub, it uses those powerful, ever-growing teeth to literally gnaw through the hard exterior of the tree. And finally, step 4, it inserts that impossibly thin 360-degree rotating middle finger right into the hole to hook and extract the meal. Every single bizarre physical trait this animal possesses works perfectly in sync for this one highly specialized hunting method. It is an absolute triumph of evolution.
But we do need to shift gears a bit. Section 4, folklore and real threats.
Because the very same traits that make this animal an evolutionary marvel are, unfortunately, putting it in grave danger. First off, there's the severe threat of habitat loss, as deforestation rapidly shrinks Madagascar's forests. But even more tragically, the IIA is heavily persecuted due to local beliefs. They are considered a fady, or a bad omen. Their strange, somewhat spooky appearance instills fear, which means they're very often killed on sight in certain regions. There's this widespread local superstition that claims if an eye points its long middle finger at you, you are cursed with death. But the reality is far less sinister. This is simply an endangered, completely harmless lemur that uses its long finger to find grubs. That's it. It's rapidly losing its home, and honestly, it is humans who pose the real threat to the eye, not the other way around. It is essentially a victim of its own incredible adaptations, simply looking a little too bizarre for human comfort. So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. Will we let superstition and deforestation erase Madagascar's most unique primate before we even fully understand it? The eye is such a vital thread in the ecological tapestry of Madagascar. We have so much left to learn from it, but its clock is ticking. Demystifying these misunderstood creatures is absolutely step 1 in saving them. I really hope this explainer equipped you with the understanding to appreciate and maybe even champion the incredible eye. Thanks so much for exploring this with me today.